Good morning again, everyone. Good morning from my analyst, and good day, good evening, good night, whatever time you might be tuning in. Thank you guys so much, and welcome again to One Global Movement, Building Hopes and Dreams, where we speak from the heart for our children, young people, women, and families worldwide. Thank you guys so much. I see the managing director and Nancy and the children's mentor, Sister Sharon, are there, who are going to be supporting in the chat. And feel free, as always, if you want to hop onto the panel here, it is for you. It is for everyone here. So thank you again so much. The issues concerning children, women worldwide, we all know that these are issues that must never, never be skipped or try to play around with. I was just listening to Miriam Sankara, and then she was speaking about the youth. The youth understand everything that is going on in every society. They are so knowledgeable, they understand. Unless their minds are being corrupted, they know exactly. Even if they're corrupted, they still know the truth. And therefore, it is our responsibility to always stand up consistently with love and determination to help this population, because they are the architects and the builders of every society. So today's topic, Mr. Partha is supposed to be here, but I haven't heard from him in the longest time. And I try to find out, but I don't hear anything. But hey, we are here. We're going to do our very best. And but thank God that he gave this topic, so that he already widens my scope of a lot of the topics that he brought here. And I'm so happy that I'm learning from these topics a lot. And so we the Mantle of Hope Revolution Part 258, Reservation. Reservation, what does that mean to you? What is the importance of reservation? Why reservation? Why? And just begin to put what you know in the chat about reservation, so that we'll come back to it. Because remember, we are here in a discussion forum where no one person, no one idea takes precedence. All ideas count, no matter how big or small. No matter what you think that maybe your question is stupid, there is no stupid question, because a stupid question is actually the most powerful question, because it leads for people to begin to think and also research. And so I did my research on reservation, what I first of all know, and then I tried to also research further. And we thank Almighty God for Mr. Ashmafare, who has set the stage for us here worldwide to come together in our own different endeavors, in our own little ways, in our own goals and our dreams, to help build the goals and dreams of our children and the future. So I'm going to talk a little bit about reservation. Reservation is not a limitation. It is not a limitation. Remember, reservation can come from various perspectives. It can come from different angles. It can come from different ideas depending on your situation. Reservation is not a one size fits all. What is your own reservation? What does it mean to you? It comes maybe because of circumstances, because of situations, because of maybe the content or the present moment in which you are. So what is reservation for you? So reservation is not a limitation. That I know very well. It's an elevation. It is elevation. And by making peace for those who have been left behind, we rise together. We rise together towards a future where all voices are compared and empowered to shine. In reserving opportunities for the underrepresented, we are investing in a more equitable world. Each reserved spot is a step towards breaking down walls and building bridges of true inclusion. And a reserved space is a seed of hope. Remember, some of those things that you reserve, like my mom reserves a lot of things. So a reserved space is a seed of hope. You remember, like If you're like me, from my culture, mothers, grandmothers, or especially mothers and grandmothers, they like to reserve a certain amount of money, a certain amount of blessing. And now I have it here. I have it here, like the mantle of hope. I have it here, and the other things of spiritual value, they reserve it for their children and their grandchildren, so those things will continue even when they're not here. And sometimes they will tie the money, their wrapper, we call it the wrapper, the loincloth that you tie wrapper, the reserve money, they tie it there, they go everywhere with it. That is their own bank account. They keep their money there, and their children know that it is there, so that when they are no more, they know what to do with that money. So that is a kind of reservation. So a reserve space is a seed of hope planted in the soil of opportunity. And let's nurture it with care, so that every child, every woman, and every young person has the chance to flourish. Reservation is not charity. We need to know that. It is not charity. Reservation is not charity. It's justice. It's the promise of fair ground for those who have been held back, allowing them to climb with dignity and create lasting change in the world. And every reserved opportunity is a door. Remember that. You reserve this, you're already opening future doors, or you're preparing it for somebody to open future doors. So reservation is every reserved opportunity is a door opening to a world where talent, strength, and potential lead, regardless of your background. This is the power of inclusion, the power of choices, and it's how we build a global family, like one global movement. To reserve a space is to rewrite history. We need to remember that. To reserve a space is to rewrite history with compassion and empathy. It says, you belong, your dreams matter, and your future is worth investing in. This is how we heal and grow stronger as a society. Reservation is a commitment to diversity that reaches beyond words. Beyond what means we do it in action, not just talking, right? It's the bridge from struggle to success, ensuring that every person, every child, every woman has a seat at the table of creation and a voice in the future. Reservation is a movement. It is towards justice. What we are doing here, we might not see in that light, but that's exactly what we are doing here. We are building this and reserving it, and some of it is already going out, but some of it we are still keeping it so that it will get to the point where we get these children and they can begin to expand on what we have reserved for them. So reservation is a movement towards justice. A part of reservation, by opening these spaces in our hearts and our minds, we honor the resilience of those who have waited, and we lift society as a whole. And what does the reservation really mean to you? What does it mean to me? I'm going to tell you what it means to me, but we want to learn from you as well. So reservation generally means setting something aside, really setting something of value and significance aside. It might be your recorded voice. Like you see, we are learning from mentors, like those that have gone before us, like Nelson Mandela. We are learning from Jim Rohn. We are learning from Martin Luther King Jr. We are learning from Marcus Garvey. We are learning from Bob Marley. We are learning from the Kennedys. We are learning from a lot of people. These are people that set value aside for us in the form of books, in the form of recording their voices, in the form of their craftsmanship, their paintings, and what have you, in the form of their leadership. And it's the same thing that Mr. Ashmufara is doing. He's setting aside a lot of things for the future. You might not see it because we define reservation in our own way, in our own context, and according to our own orientation. So it is different. And there is no one way that is wrong at all, but it depends on your own context. But what matters is it value that you're setting aside? Does it uplift children, women, and young people? Does it serve humanity? Is what we are talking about here. That's the kind of reservation that we are talking about. So you set aside, or you keep a spot. Imagine a spot in your heart. You reserve it, like we are reserving for our children, or resource specifically for someone or something. And I bet you, all of us here, mothers and fathers, caregivers, and adults, we have reserved, and we continue to reserve something for not just ourselves, but for our children and our children's children. And for me, I want to see my great children. And so I have to start reserving something right now, because the life that your grandchildren, your children, and your children's children are going to live is going to be dependent on how well you live that life right now, not postponing it. And so when we see children behaving in certain important, certain valuable ways, we beat our chest. We say, oh my God, I have a son, I have a daughter that is like this, and that, because we took the time and the resources that we've been blessed with to reserve something, and most importantly, reserve love in our heart. Remember, the heart can also be a bad heart, but we are reserving love in the good side of our heart for these children, because love champions everything. There is nothing of value that you can give to your child or any child out there that is void of love, and it is going to be good for that child. So we need to talk about reservation in this light, specifically for your loved ones, or maybe you're contributing to causes that are dear to your heart. Maybe it's the clean water supply projects that Sister Yvonne is always contributing to, or maybe it's one global movement trying to eradicate hunger, illiteracy, poverty, abuse, homelessness, and other things that are plaguing these children worldwide, especially in the social field. So now let's examine the kinds of reservation. We can talk about booking a spot or booking an air ticket. That one, they say, oh, did you make a reservation yet? No. Or you want to go on vacation. You're calling for Airbnb or a hotel, and they're asking you, or you're telling them, I would like to make a reservation on this date, this, and that. So in travel, dining, or events, a reservation is made to ensure a spot in advance, especially if you're going to places of value, because places of value are places that people always love to go. At least I love to go. If I don't have any value to take from anywhere, I'm not going there. And let alone even spending my money, I'm not going to go there, because what is it going to do for me? But sometimes you can always have fun, but the good fun is still a place of value. So for example, you might.
Hello, hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Sorry, sister. I'm gonna close the mic.
Okay, sorry about that. So for example, you might make a reservation at a restaurant, so they save a table for you, maybe for you alone, or you and your children or your family, or at a hotel to guarantee a room. And then land reservation. We know land reservation, at least in the United States. Here we talk about reservation for the Native Americans, those who own the United States of America, or who own North America. We talk about reservation. So now we talk about it like land, in terms of land. Why would land be reserved for them in the first place is a question that we have to ask ourselves. But land is reserved for them. It's their land. They should be reserving that land for their own descendants and other people, instead of others reserving that land for them. So some areas of land often called reservations. We have that too, even in my village. And I questioned it. I said, but why? My grandfather had a lot of land. Why should we have to reserve land to these people when their land is supposed to already have been there? So it's a question we ask everywhere. So some areas of land, often called reservations, are designated for particular groups. Particular groups like the indigenous or tribal communities of Cameroon, of the United States or North America, or in other areas of the world. We know this. And some might call it in different names according to their culture, but I think in most areas of the world is always there. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, especially those that have been pushed to the backwaters of life. It is always a good thing to compensate them or reserve them land to live on, because if they don't have land, how can they build? How can they grow? How can they educate their children? So land reservation is a good thing. We have it in my family as well. And so number 3, you talk about affirmative action as a reservation. In some countries, reservation policies exist to allocate opportunities or resources like job opportunities, like education.
Mm-hmm.
Certain educational spots in certain schools are reserved for certain people, and sometimes they know why they are doing that. Or government positions for underrepresented or disadvantaged groups. We know that we hear about certain scholarships are being reserved for people of color, for people of this, which we know everyone has color. We all are born with beautiful colors, but it is done so in order to also favor them, because I think it's a good policy, because they want to help them out of their situation where some communities or some people have been pushed to the backwaters of life and they struggle a lot. So when they do those reservation, it's also going to help them, especially in terms of education. So the goal is, in this case, is often to reduce social inequalities by giving marginalized groups reserve access to specific opportunities, be it education, be it land, be it housing, whatever, be it health. Those kind of things are reserved. So we talk about the 4th kind is hesitation or doubt kind of reservation. This kind of reservation can mean reluctance or holding back, hesitation or doubt. You're holding back. For example, if someone says, I have reservations about this plan, they mean they have concerns or doubt. Okay, like for us here in Unpassive, or even here in One Global Movement, or even in our family, let's start from our family. Now, somebody presents something to you and you're not quite clear, or maybe you don't understand what that person is saying, or you listen to the inner voice within you is saying, no, this thing is not like this, is not the way it's supposed to be. This thing is a facade, it's not the truth. This thing that I'm listening or somebody's telling me is not the truth. And you say, and they ask you, what do you think? To be honest, some people will say, I reserve my comments for now. That means you have to respect that and give them the opportunity to go think and then come back to you. You cannot push people to say things right now because you want it right now. When you push people into certain situations, it is for your own benefit. It is not for the benefit of the other person. So don't push children into situations because you're the mother or you're the father. You want to push them because you think you are the parents. No, they have a mind of their own as well. They were created with their own unique ways of understanding things. So we need to let them go think about it. Think about it. They say, Mommy, please give me a moment. Daddy, give me a moment. Let us respect that. They say, yes, son. Yes, daughter. Yes. Go think about it and let me know what you think. And sometimes they might forget because, their minds are racing with their age and they're trying to figure out their identity. You can remind them in a respectful way to say, what do you think about that? And sometimes let's encourage them and ourselves to jot down things that we think. Because if you don't write them down, you forget about them. So we give them that opportunity. So hesitation or doubt. When somebody doubts you, that is not something for you to get mad. Let them doubt you. Nobody should be able to trust you anyway unless they really want to trust you, unless you've shown that they should trust you. But if somebody has doubt about you, let them have it. If you understand who you are and whose you are, you will welcome them to doubt you so that they can go find out about themselves without imposing. When we do this, you're helping these children to approach the world with a very clear mindset, with resources that they can also navigate the world rightly. But if we start by by really imposing on them without giving them that opportunity, then they're not going to do well. So each type of reservation is based on the idea of setting something aside with a specific purpose in your mind. So reservation policies exist in some countries to address historical and systemic inequalities that have limited access to opportunities for underrepresented or disadvantaged groups. We all know that. Even in families, I have things reserved to for my brother who is a headache. I must say this. Okay, it doesn't even just start from out there or from different places. Let's start from our environment, our home. A lot of resources have been reserved for him so that they can set him right. But sometimes we get upset, we grumble, we say, why him all the time? Why him? But it is reserved for a purpose, and we have to give him that opportunity to try to make things better for himself. So reservation policies exist in some countries to address historical and systemic inequalities. It also does the same in families. These systemic inequalities that have limited access to opportunities for the underrepresented or the disadvantaged groups in the world. These policies aim to really keep the playing ground level, make it a level field by ensuring that every child from marginalized communities have fairer access to resources like education, like jobs, especially education for girls in certain communities that don't want that, like myself, that I was limited, but thank God for my grandmother. And political representation. We need to be represented equally. If we are here in one global movement, we say every child counts, every child matters, every child belongs. You don't have to only take children from a certain communities and not in the other. And that is why we encourage each and everyone to represent their families, represent their communities. And sometimes I post pictures, but I don't think people are getting it. Or if people don't feel comfortable to, you don't have to send your pictures. But we want every child to be represented, and it starts with us. So these policies aim to level the playing field for everyone, ensuring that families, children from marginalized communities have fairer access to resources like education, like jobs, like to medical care, and other opportunities, and even political representation. And we have a few reasons why reservation policies are implemented. What do you have? What is your reason for implementing these policies? We have already talked about a lot of them. Number one is to give the rights and freedom to children, young people, and women, especially those that they were created with. Some of the things that we go through emotionally because our God given rights have been seized and taken away from us. And you see, we start developing different emotional disturbances. And we don't even know what to explain. You go to the doctor, they ask, what are you sick of? You don't even know what to explain. I was in that stage too at one moment because I could not, in my mind as a child, I could not understand why I shouldn't be loved and educated like the others. So we want to, what are your reasons why these reservations are made? To me, that is the number one. And then the other one is correcting historical inequalities. We already talked about that. And so I will let Sister Yvonne say something here before we continue, Sister.
Well, I wasn't sure where either you or Mr. Pratim was going to go with this, but you covered it all. And so now I have an idea of how you're using that, because it applies to all of those things. I just have a quote. It says, "Any man worth his salt will stick up for what he believes right, but it takes a slightly better man to acknowledge instantly without reservation that he is in error."
Yes.
So that's one way of using that word. And also, you talked about putting aside, for instance, land for the indigenous people who actually own the land, but that's a different story. And then also, we have things like an area of land in which wild animals are protected, for example, right?
Mhm.
You can say he's the chief warden of a big game reservation, right?
Yeah.
And then you covered all the other words, that doubt and restriction. And then the one that you really make an impact with there is the one where putting something aside or making equitable the disparities that we have for the marginalized demographics.
Mhm.
So it's well-rounded talk, and I'm really glad that you did it because I it's so complete. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
I was also, I said, I wish he was here. I wanted to really know the direction that he was
but
going to
yeah,
tackle this,
yeah,
but I had to, so I have to stay ready. We have to stay ready. And I
we
went ahead
do. We are exactly, and it's
and
very good.
yes. So
It can also be those handed down stories from our elders, can't
there
they?
you
They
go.
deserve it.
There you
Yeah,
go. And
yeah.
you saw me show this. We have there are so many things here that have been handed down to me and my generation.
Yes. Yeah.
And those stories is one of them.
Yes.
Even
Absolutely.
drums. There are certain drums in my culture where
Yep.
drums are natural things, and when you play the drum, you're playing nature, you're playing the animal, you're playing, you're bringing
Yes.
things together. So to learn to send messages is still
Yes.
there, and those
Yes.
things are there. Those things are passed down from generations
They
to
are,
generation,
and they're
and
precious,
they're
precious,
so
precious.
precious. And that is why when we see like they talk about the jungle in Africa, where most of the beautiful animals come from, the
Yes.
savannah. Yes.
Yes.
And some of those animals are so guarded that you cannot just destroy the species. You know,
Absolutely. Dr. Mundi, I just realized they have people giving their lives to protect the big, huge elephants because people are so stupid. That's my word. They will actually mangle the elephant just to get the tusk, and then they leave him to do what?
yes, yes, yes. And the toss, what are you going to do with it? So
It's
certain
money, more
areas,
money,
yes,
money.
greed, greed.
Greed, greed,
Certain
greed.
areas in Cameroon, because I was born in Cameroon, you cannot hunt there. You can't.
No, you cannot.
You
And
cannot
that's so,
hunt there at all. And
please.
these animals behave like humans. They are smart anyway. I
They
remember
are, yes, yes.
when I was young, I went to the farm with my mom, and this monkey came. I think the monkey, they know children from adults. And this monkey was playing with me. And when he go like this, me too, I go like this. And then he jump from one tree to the other, and then he come back. I go. Then my mom ran and said, "What is this child doing here like this?" You shouldn't know. I said, "Mom, the monkey is playing with me."
He's
The
playing
whole
with you.
I did not work anymore. I was playing with the monkey all through. So, this shows the love and harmony. Animals sometimes understand better like humans.
Absolutely,
Humans.
absolutely,
I'm talking
absolutely.
about the One Global Movement garden on farm that we are doing now. Do you see the animals, the
Yes.
deers and the
And as you said, they're coming closer and closer. It's a trust. They were very reserved at first, but now
yes,
as they get to trust you and know that they can trust you because
mhm,
trust is built up over time,
yes,
then they will come and you can eventually touch them. Just be careful that, they don't have
yes,
any
yes, yes,
illnesses or anything. But yes, absolutely. They're God's
yes.
creatures just as we are.
Yeah, this father reserved those animals. He's been feeding them for more than 30 years. But when these animals stray from around his area, they shoot them only for the skin, just
For the
like.
skin, I know.
And these animals are so beautiful, and they're
I
not
know.
supposed to hunt around that area because they're just like domesticated ones already,
Animals, yes.
So the thing here is correcting historical inequalities is so important,
It
and we
is.
deal with this in the world of today. The world, our children are so much in a state of confusion. They are so much in a state of everything that is not good for them because the history of the world has been changed, has been altered from the history of creation, and things are not the way that they are. And what we know, even within us, that if we don't do the right thing, it shows inside of us, and it therefore comes outside. So many disadvantaged groups have faced discrimination or exclusion over
Yes.
generations,
Yes.
leading to disparities in education,
hmm
income, housing, social
Mhm.
status, and what have you. Reservation policies are intended to rectify these long standing injustices by
Mhm.
providing opportunities for social mobility. And even
Yes.
though in certain areas or countries, it is there on paper and it is spoken, but implementation is
It's a
still
problem.
is still a problem. But I believe that with education, when we educate ourselves and our children, remember, all of these things are happening because it starts from the home. It starts from the home, not from
Yes.
outside. Because when we all come together to educate children the way that we are supposed to, when they go out there, they already have the resources. Now they
Mm.
know how to navigate all of this, and they
Mm.
will just be happy. And when they do that, they are also spreading a ripple effect on other people that are going to be learning from them. And so
Mm.
things can be done without even fighting. And then
No
we
fight.
yes, we promote diversity and inclusion. We talk about that. Reserving
Yes.
spots for the underrepresented is a big issue. The underrepresented groups in workplaces, we see it, I face it. Schools, government bodies can foster a more inclusive environment for our children, our young people in particular. Remember, we can never talk about any population without these people. They are the builder. You think that you're the one earning the money and bringing it home as a mother and a father. You think that you're cooking that food. These people are the builders. They build these things for us to you. Most of the buildings in the world are done by young people. I'm not just talking about building a house. Building
Mm.
resources, building technology, and a lot of other things is being done by young people. So diversity often brings varied perspectives and can lead to a more balanced and empathic decision making process in every society. That is very, very important. We talk about reduce socioeconomic disparities. One of the advantages of reservation. Marginalized
Mhm.
groups often face socioeconomic barriers that prevent them from competing on an equal footing with more privileged groups. This simply means some groups are given the privilege and others are not given the same privilege. It is a good thing to give equal privileges to all children because what you do is you're exposing this child to a lot of opportunities or resources because they already have their gift. When you expose them, the child will thrive when you expose them equally. But it is so dampening on the brain of a child or a young person to know and to think that this child that is the same like me or in the same school like me or is studying the same course like me has been given more privileges over me or has been given quality over me. That alone is dampening to a child's mind. That is why we here in One Global Movement say every child is equal. Every child belongs. Every child deserves access to all the opportunities, regardless. And every child deserves to study at their own pace and do what they love to do, not the things that have been imposed or things that have been they've been told go do this because you are from a marginalized group. So that is very, very important. So empowering this marginalized community is very, very important. Reservation policies can increase representation for disadvantaged communities in spaces where they are typically underrepresented, such as in schools, such as in government
Employment.
employment or government positions in corporate sectors. The representation can lead to policies and decisions that are more attuned to the needs of these communities. Very, very important. So, building social cohesion. How do you build that? By providing more equitable opportunities. Reservation policies aim to promote social harmony. Have you seen children that are they know that, oh, this child has been given the same opportunity like me? They are so happy. They interact happily. They play. These are simple things, but they're the most important. When you do that, children are happy. And a lot of young people are tired of these inequalities in the world. They are tired of inequalities in families. They're tired. They just want, you don't want to be thinking about something. Somebody like me, I'll develop a headache. When things are not going right, I develop a headache. We don't want our children to develop that kind of headache simply because you want to say, okay, you this child, take this one. You this child, you didn't do what, you didn't do the dishes, you take but this one. And that's not a good thing. And these children will grow up to face those kind of things out there, and they might not know how to navigate those areas. So when
Yeah.
different communities feel seen and supported and loved, when our children feel seen, supported, and loved, it fosters a more unified society and world for all of them and for all of us. So while reservation policies can be controversial, they can be. They can be really controversial. Their core goal is to create a more equitable society by addressing the root causes of inequality and giving underrepresented groups a fair chance to succeed. And we're not just going to be talking to address them. We are addressing them in what we are doing right now. What are you doing? What are your goals and your dream? What is your purpose? That is what we are talking about. You can't just go and be talking about something without bringing a solution to the table. And so that is a solution that we here in One Global Movement are doing. So these are very, very important. And in addressing this, we are really promoting diversity. We are promoting social cohesion. We are reducing socioeconomic gaps. We are fostering inclusion and development. We are empowering marginalized, vulnerable groups and communities like children, young people, and women. And a lot of other things. We are breaking the circle of discrimination at the same time. Remember, discrimination starts from the home. I have seen parents discriminate among their children. I have been a living witness of that. I have seen discrimination doesn't just start out there, it starts right here with us.
Yeah.
And sometimes we even do it unknowingly because we don't know any better. But let us always seek to know better, because when you know better, you do better for the children. And so
Yep.
it also contributes to social cohesion, which we've talked about again and again. So this is such a beautiful topic. Thank God for
Yes.
Mr. Partha. He chose that, but he didn't come, but then he gave me the opportunity to really explore this. So thank you,
Yep.
Sister Yvonne. If you have any other thing, you can go ahead and say it. Otherwise, let us go ahead and appreciate our beautiful, amazing audience.
Well,
Well, one of
one of the terms that you, what is my voice saying that? One of the terms that skepticism, and skepticism doesn't have to be negative. It can be healthy. We want our children to have that because that is how they will do their own research. Because as I said to you before we went on the show, a lot of the young people are getting their news, their information from social influencers. That is a wrong place to get that because it's always going to be biased to the personality,
yes.
right? You want to be able not to be part of the mass. You want to not be a lemming. You want to be an individual standing out. So reservations mean that you should have healthy skepticism when somebody tells you something because it says history is being written by the person in power. So
Yes.
all those kinds of things we have to be make sure that we tell our children, young people, that this thing is the best thing that they have for their life journey
Mhm.
besides God. And it
Yes.
says he gave you, I'm sorry, power, love, and a sound mind. I really
Yes.
love that. Guard
Yes.
your mind. Very powerful thing you have. Do not be a lemming, a part of the masses. You are not. You must
No.
think differently and act differently, and especially stick to your values and your morals.
Thank you so much for
So,
saying that. I'm really happy that you said that, because a lot of our kids are confused. Like you said, they're getting their news from different sources, from Hollywood, from something. But these children, they do that without knowing, because the foundation was not there from the beginning, from home. So
mhm.
let us really, when you see that
Encourage our
baby,
children. Yes.
encourage them. The first day of life, start from there, and you will
Yep.
be amazed what these
Yep.
children can do. And
Yep.
we have to learn to teach them, even us practicing it, distinguishing good news from bad news. Not everything that you hear is what it is. What are your findings? What are your moral values regards to that thing, like sister is saying here? That is what we need to do. Our moral values, our cultural values, what are they? And I know that there's some cultural values in every society that is something that is not good. And we all know that. But when you lay your foundation based on the one that created you, and you seek to follow the principles of creation, a lot of things you will know. You'll be so happy with your life that nobody
Yes.
can even disturb you. Nobody can give you a go ahead. You give yourself the go ahead because God has given you the go ahead. So it's very, very important. And thank you so much for really saying that, because a lot of kids are confused. But the news said, it's not everything that is said in the news that is the right thing, because news all over the world, social media, radio, television, and all those things is the
Yes.
number one corrupt means of communication.
It
You need
is.
to pick and choose the news. Listen to news is good, but pick
Yes.
and choose what you listen to.
Yes.
Don't be that person that wants to do this thing because you want to belong, or because
Yes.
you want to support a friend that you know that is doing something that is not right, or you want to do this just because your mother or your father said you must do it. If you're not doing it, you're not going to be my child. So
Yes. Yes. You must go to a variety of places. Do not go to only one place where they have a leaning towards one bent, because
yes,
that is not news. The Bible says, in the multitude of witnesses, and it talks about two or three witnesses. Be discerning. It's hard and it's challenging, but you cannot just be force fed and spoon fed, because
yep,
you will go down the wrong path. You won't be having your own mind. It's
yep,
very important.
yep,
Watch what you watch and say, even if you don't like a person that's being reported on, it
yep,
doesn't matter. If they didn't do a thing, then they're innocent, just like anybody else, because
yes,
a lot of that is going on out there now. Cancel culture, and the names that they have for these things. But don't worry about the names. Just worry about what the intention is. Intention, and then
yes,
you go and do your own research and make up your own mind, please.
certainly,
Very
certainly.
important.
And
Yeah,
let us also know, don't go against people that say things that don't align with what your values.
exactly.
Because
Yeah.
some of those people don't know. Some of those people, they are just doing what they've been told to do. And
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand that the essence of One Global Movement is not to go against any child, any young
Nope.
person, or any woman,
Nope.
is to welcome everyone. And then we try to see how we can chart a better course following what they desire. So that is the
Exactly.
most important thing here, because don't waste your time trying to say this man
Mm-hmm.
is a bad man, because sometimes I'm bad too, okay? Sometimes we all are bad. So let us just try to see what are the
It,
solutions that we can bring together,
it
you
depends
know?
on perception, right? And it's what you're saying. Sometimes when you don't do something that somebody wants, they label you as bad, but it wouldn't be right for you, right?
Mm.
That's all there is to that. It's not that you've done anything illegal or bad. It's just that you didn't please them. You didn't do what they wanted, and they count you as bad. That is their issue.
Yeah, that's their issue. Don't be a
Yeah.
people pleaser. I was pleasing my father for such a long time
There you
until I
go.
got it from my grandmother, and then I didn't. I just did what was right because my grandmother said, "He's still your father. You're still going to take care of him." I did the best, and I'm glad that I did.
Of
I'm really
course.
so glad
Of
that I did.
course. Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. We're, as Queen Nancy is writing in here, we're all servant leaders, whether it's your father, your own child, and somebody you don't know. We are sent here to serve one another. That's what we are,
Yes.
within reason, right? You don't want to be trodden on,
Yep.
but we are serving one another within
Yep.
reason. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is a very important. I'm going to
Very
say
important topic. I really
thank
liked it.
you
Thank you.
to
Yeah.
Mr. Partha. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you, sister. You did a really good job. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
And
that.
you did great too. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
really
you.
glad that we lean on one another, because
Yeah.
the issues facing our children, or even
Yes.
love, to give love, has to come from different angles, and from all angles, not different angles, from all angles, to really nurture these children to become good citizens for themselves, their families, and for the world.
Yes. Yes.
All
Absolutely.
right, we have our brother, Mr. Ashok. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your consistency in really inspiring us with Unpassive and Mr. Ash Mufara. We thank God for this time in our lives. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And sister, greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining us again today on the OGM platform as we continue to speak with heart for our children and young people worldwide. Thank you. And today's topic is very intriguing. Yes, it was, as there are so many connotations to be drawn from the word reservation. And thank God we exploited
Yeah, we did.
yeah. Please share what you think it means. And we
Mhm.
have children's mentor, Sister Sharon Bali, who Pushpin Media is here. Thank you so much, Sister Sharon. How are you? And thank you for the work that you continue to do for One Global Movement behind the scene. We highly appreciate you. And our beautiful sister, Maria Just, how are you? Thank you
Mhm.
again for being with us here today. We highly appreciate you. And of course, the managing director is always here to welcome each and everyone and to see what we can do to help our children better. Thank you so much, John. And let's go here. Oh, wow. Now I get to stretch out my vocal cords again, John. Hashtag JJB Teen Man, hashtag Big Heart, hashtag Unpassive, hashtag Ashmufara, hashtag Unpassilious, hashtag Resident Baritone, hashtag Oconnect, hashtag One Global Movement with much love. Thank you.
Mhm.
And our beautiful sister Nancy is saying, hello, families. Welcome to another session of OGM where we have the opportunity to discuss our children with heart. And Nancy, thank you so much. Nancy, what she's doing on social media, I don't know where she has that time to be doing what she's doing. One
You
global
know,
movement.
sister, what we always say, where there's a will, there's a way. And when something is
Oh
important to
my
you,
God.
yeah.
Sometimes it's like I just do something right now. She's on top of I say, is that not your thing? How did she get that? Thank you so much, Nancy. This is what it takes
Thank
sacrifice
you, Nancy.
under
Yes.
all circumstances to support these children, especially those that are already going through certain things that
Yes.
are not healthy
Yes.
for them. So,
Yes.
thank you so
Yes.
much, Nancy, for what you're doing. And John says, I have been studying my lines all morning, but now it's time to think the children, particularly the young girls. Yay! The young girl. What
Yes,
about the
John.
young
Thank
boys,
you, John.
All right. Nancy says, yes, John. As Queen Yvonne says, we need a balance. Our children count too. Yes.
Yes, they
Balance,
do.
balance, balance. She always says that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have David, Dog Passive, Rosalski. How are you, David?
Hi,
If you're,
David.
if you're new here, you're welcome to the One Global Movement where we are speaking with heart for our children and young people and women worldwide. Thank you for joining us today. Come again, feel free. If you need to hop onto the stage here, hop onto the stage and do whatever you need to do. Everybody is welcome here. Thank you.
Amen.
We have Sir Abdul Sattar. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for being the pillar behind our children worldwide. We love you and your family. Thank you. And the managing director says reservation is today's topic. Let's all listen and see what we think. Please comment here in the chat, please, with your thoughts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go down here. And who is the only stupid question is the one you don't ask if you want information. There you
Absolutely.
go. That's so true. That is true. If you keep quiet, that is really a stupid question that you're keeping
Yeah,
quiet. You
exactly.
dare ask.
Yes. You leave just as uninformed as you came. That is no point in that.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for putting that in there, David. I appreciate that.
Yes.
And let's go down here. And the managing director says hashtag Sea of Hope,
Oh.
hashtag One Global Movement, hashtag education for young girls and boys too. I was wondering,
Mm-hmm.
did you forget that, John?
No, he never does.
Setting something aside and saving it for all time, something worthwhile and useful that we need for the future. Hashtag unpassive, hashtag JJB Teen Man, hashtag Big Heart, hashtag a spot in your heart. Yep.
Yes.
Reserve a spot
Yes.
for these children, John. Thank
Yes.
you. And we have our brother firefighter, Mr. Cecil Wire. How are you, sir? Thank you so
Mm-hmm.
much for
Mm-hmm.
standing firm behind us. And now I know if a smoke is starting in my home, I would just, hey, Cecile, come on over. Come on over.
He's not even in the same state.
I never know. He might be my neighbor. Maybe I've not discovered all my neighbors.
That's funny.
Okay. If he's not in the state, then we all know now that wherever he is, we'll be calling him.
There you go.
All right. We have our brother Bruce Gerstein. How are you? We miss you for a long, long time, but you're here
Yes.
today. It shows that you are healthy, you're happy, and we are alive, and we thank God for a new day. So thank you so much for joining us from your own end. We highly appreciate you. And let's go here. Well done, Dr. Mundih. You covered the whole topic. Very interesting. Thank
Yes,
you.
she did. She did. She did. She did.
Oh, that is props up for me. Thank you. Because I was not sure what I was going to be doing, but at least I did it.
Sometimes that's the best, right? You just go with it. Yeah.
Right. We have Vinay Kumar. How are you, sir? Thank you so much again for joining us. We highly appreciate your effort and your determination to support children worldwide. We have Great. Our brother Divya is here today. Thank you so much, Brother Divya, for joining us from your end. We appreciate you. How are you doing with those school children? Are they listening? Or are you speaking love into them? So thank you so much. Say hello to our beautiful, handsome little boy and your family. And please, this is the link for our One Global Movement Facebook page. Please, if you can, this is the least you can do. We can start from somewhere and we'll gradually move up. We need to pick all the resources, no matter how small or big they are, along the way to help these children. So please, if you can, go to our Facebook page, One Global Movement Facebook page, and you like and you follow. We are asking you, please, if you love children, all of us should really aspire to do this and also encourage others to do the same. So thank you so much. And Clover Kelly, how are you? Hello, lovely ladies. Sorry to miss the show, but I am here today. Greetings to all my favorite Unpassive family. Love you all. We love you too, Kelly. Yes, once in a while, or maybe sometimes it's good to miss the show so that you can also focus on other important areas of your life. It's not only about the show, because when you focus like that, you come here with a very good mind, ready to also help these children. We cannot help children without helping ourselves first.
That's right.
And thank you for joining us today, Clover Kelly. We appreciate you, of course. Thank you. Families, yesterday I was telling someone about OGM. She wanted to subscribe, but she doesn't have YouTube. She doesn't have Facebook. So I have to help her download them in order to do it. Be a servant. Wow,
Yes.
Nancy, you've been doing this for the longest time. Thank you so much. Even at her job, she will be there with us. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you. Yes, and we have Cheryl Bess. How are you? Thank you so much again for joining us here today. We appreciate you and we love you. Thank you. And our brother Bruce says, when we hold a reservation, it's because we expect a great experience.
Yes.
What's better than what Unpassive brings to us?
Absolutely.
That's a great question, and a question we all should embrace, because I think Unpassive is already doing what is the best thing, is to bring human minds and communities together. And in this case, is the global community. So thank you so much for that important question, Bruce. We appreciate it.
Yes.
And let's share our mission by starting with pressing the big thumbs up. Have someone subscribe, share with families and friends with love. So sometimes AI is going too fast ahead of us and putting things and letters there. So, thank you so much, Nancy. And special thanks to you from Cheryl Bess, Sister Yvonne Finn.
Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate you.
And hello, Special hello to the managing director, Mr. John Barilla. So thank you guys so much. If in the absence of anything, sister, I will let you close our show for today. We've come to the end of the show.
Okay, so one of the words that you use, and it's a positive, much positive word. It says to me, it's a belief in the future. When you put aside something, even if you're not here, as you said, putting something aside for your children or your children's children, it's a belief in the future. And that is so positive because this is what we need. Because some people are very doom and gloom about the times in which we are living. But if we see the positive, that's good for our children. It gives them something to work for. And so we put aside something, not just material things, but even just the way we speak into their life.
Yes.
Take the time to speak into their lives. So that's how I see that. So thank you, sister. Really opened my eyes about this word and how many ways you can go with it. Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you too because you contributed a lot and a lot of people contributed in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Reservation, reserve love.
Yes.
Reserve love for the child that you're still thinking about conceiving. Reserve
Absolutely.
love for the highest level of education or the best education that you give your child. This does not necessarily mean classroom education. Maybe education in a trade, education in inventing something, education in traveling the world, in discovering the ways of lives of other people, education in cooking and eating together with people. Reserve something for a child today, not just your own children. Go around your community and see what you can do. You can just be putting little things aside. You can get a piggy bank. If you're like me, I
Yep.
have piggy banks
Yep.
all over. I
Yep.
put little money here just in time to buy things to give the community, especially around this time of the year that we've chosen to celebrate the birth of Christ, even though Christ was not born on the 25th.
It
But it's
doesn't matter. Yeah.
it does not matter. It makes the children happy. I was
Yes.
happy too when I was a child. I'm still happy with that. So reserve something, reserve a spot in your mind and in your heart for children of the world. So until tomorrow, thank you guys so
Bye,
much for
everyone.
coming. Love
Thank
you all.
you.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
for coming. We thank
Thank you.
you. Bye bye.